Good morning, America. How are you doing this fine morning? As we move into a cold December month, getting ready to wind up what's been a huge year in news, in political revolution. We pretty much beat the establishment this year. We pretty much proved everybody wrong, from the naysayers to the liberal mainstream media to everybody. Unprecedented. Truly effing unprecedented, if I do say so myself. Now, with that being said, I'm sure that y'all know that this fight that we've been fighting for X number of years, ever how long it's been, some of us are yet to wake up to what's been really going on. Some of us are not lucky enough to have taken their dosage of the red pill, so to speak, okay? And I just want y'all to know how important it is to talk to your friends, talk to your family members, people in your community, in your churches, everywhere. Tell them what's really going on. Tell them what a modern day liberal really is. Tell them everything that you know, politically, conventionally, financially, what have you. I mean, yeah, make them fully aware of what's really going on. Now, I want to tell y'all something. I don't know how many of y'all are aware of this, but Washington, D.C., the small community of Washington, D.C., is of the richest in the world. It is the richest city of our United States. And I'm not sure of an absolute figure on how much money that goes through Washington, D.C. in an average year. However, I will Google this. The richest places in America all have one thing in common. This is from the Washington Post. Now, for you TV viewers, I'm not sure, you probably can't see that big bright TV of mine, but I'm going to show you something. Okay, right along in here, this is the east coast of the United States, okay? Here you see the bottom 10%, which is the red. White is in the middle. And here you have the bluer it gets, the richer the place is. And right here, take a look at Washington, D.C. Kansas City, St. Louis, and Baltimore are missing holes in a map of American prosperity They are relevantly low income, encircled by wealth. Cross their country lines into the suburbs, the households there make, in many cases, nearly twice as much. Same with Detroit, Philadelphia, Cleveland, and Dallas. The pattern is a classic American one, built through decades of post war wealthy flight to the suburbs and disinvestment in cities, but it's striking today how deeply enriched the geometry remains in the county level, especially in an era when poverty is expanding into the suburbs and wealthier households are moving back in. Here's some bigger pictures. This is Baltimore. Now, Baltimore, actually, the state line of Baltimore is actually separated right here by this river. Well, I don't know. I guess it's the Delaware. I'm not for sure. But you have Maryland to the northeast of the Washington, D.C. area. And Virginia on the southwestern border of Washington, D.C. In Baltimore City, for instance, the median household income in 2014 was $42,665, according to the community survey estimates released this week. The median income in suburb Anne Arundel County, nearby is nearly $45,000 a year more. The income gap between Philadelphia County and Bucks County next door is $40,000, reflecting the much higher poverty rates in many central cities. Now, that still didn't answer my question. But I heard from a source, I can't remember exactly who it was, but the money going through Washington, D.C. in a year was easily in the trillions. Now, I know that's a little far-fetched and hard to believe for those of us who barely have 2 pennies in their pocket to rub together. That's a little hard for me to believe. In fact, I don't know about you, but I couldn't imagine $1 billion. Billion with a B. You know, the millionaires and the billionaires, you know. I couldn't imagine that, okay? So, with that being said, I'll probably never make it to be a billionaire, which is fine with me, you know. I mean, I've lived an alright life I'm pretty fly for a white guy, you know. But anyway, I just wanted y'all to know how rich of a place that Washington, D.C. is. Now, when it comes to politics, it doesn't matter what they label themselves as, what they identify as, so to say. That fits this situation a whole lot better. We'll take some words out of their playbook and we'll use it against them in this case, because we all know what they stand for. We all know who they really are. And their actions actually speak volumes. Now, even though you don't have anyone, or even though you don't have a lot of people who actually live in Washington, D.C., like in office running these things, all of these families, all these people have massive amounts of money. And as you know, with money comes power. And it's no accident that they're surrounded by all of our political leaders. So what do? They throw their money at these politicians. Okay? And these politicians, they take their money. They might not say, okay, buddy, give me X amount of dollars, and I'll do, Y activity for you. It don't work like that. You say, no, you don't say nothing. You have a representative who will meet with this potential donor, and they will say, okay, I know that you have a certain political agenda. Could you please donate, I don't know, $10 million to the Clinton Foundation, whatever. I mean, I'm just using an example here. And we will do all we can for you, or just a little something like that. Nothing, whatever. So, Senator A or Billy Bob Clinton the third, whatever his name is, whoever we're talking about here, he goes to, I don't know, wherever, take a map and throw a dart at it. It don't matter where it hits. That's where he goes, and he gives a speech. Well, whatever money was donated to the Clinton Foundation or whatever foundation is supposed to be like their payment, or not really payment, just like their charity. Like, okay, this company's giving away untaxable dollars to a so-called non-profit organization, and someone who represents this non-profit organization is, doing a charitable act too by giving a speech, blah blah blah, and this and that. A month or two goes by, a bill is written, and the people, the congressmen or the senators who don't want to go along with this, their pockets their foundations gets fatter, and so on and so forth, and before you know it, they're all on board, okay? That's pretty much how things work in Washington, D.C. Now, these people in Washington, D.C., they may call themselves Republican, moderate Republican, whatever, independent, Democrat, whatever. Let me tell y'all something. We're pretty much talking about the establishment here when we're talking about Washington, D.C. Not the Republican establishment, not the Democratic establishment. The political establishment of the United States, okay? Because parties aside, they all have one thing in common. They're all, about all of them, is liberal, okay? Wolves in sheep clothing, whatever you want to call them, they're liberal, okay? Whether it's moderately to whatever they want to call it, they call themselves whatever, and they run for office in, whatever area that they come from, okay? And these little labels that they use, Republican, Democrat, whatever, is basically to suit the voters that don't necessarily represent, their beliefs or anything like that. It pretty much represents how they will, which party that they represent pretty much depends on which one will get them the most votes. And you take a place like, or a state like Virginia or California, which is democratically controlled from, all the way around the mofo, okay? Naturally, running as a Democrat is going to benefit anybody, okay? I mean, this is common sense. A kindergartner could figure this stuff out, okay? A kindergartner. Now, this ain't no laughing matter, folks. Now, when it comes to voting, when it comes to making your vote count, when you want to send somebody to office that's going to represent you, gonna keep your beliefs, your religious freedoms, your freedom of speech, your Second Amendment rights, everything like that, all of your best interest. The only way you've got a chance is to send somebody that is not going to turn on you, that has lived through these poverty times that most of us have been stricken with, okay? You can pretty much tell when somebody is actually out for you, and if you don't know, then you don't have to do much research, and you could probably figure it out. But now there's this lady who is running for office. She's running for district attorney of the state of Michigan. Now, I don't know. Her name is Dana Nessel. I don't necessarily know which party that she represents. But I'm willing to go out on a limb here and just about guarantee you that she is a Democrat. Okay? Now, before I even find out, I want you all to watch this video right here and show you how crazy that these candidates, these political figures have all became within the matter of just a few months, okay? They have let this sexual harassment thing, they have blown it way out of proportion. And I don't think it's like an accident. I think it's all planned. I think that they've got they've actually got a big plan ahead. What I will share with y'all shortly. Work on my little tripod here a little bit. Hold on. Yeah, I got a guitar on the wall. Let's watch this video. Hold it. I forgot my Spidey Man music. Hold on just a sec.
Has taught us anything, it's that we need more women in positions of power, not less. So, when you're choosing Michigan's next Attorney General, ask yourself this: who can you trust most not to show you their penis in a professional setting?
Yeah, who can you trust most not to show you their penis? Obviously, it's somebody with a badge. I mean, they might show you their badge, but by God, they ain't going to show you their penis. I'm sorry, I just had to put that out there. Here, right here. Who can you trust not to show you their penis in a professional setting?
Is it the candidate who doesn't have a penis? I'd say so.
I'd say so.
Some people will tell you, I can't be the Democratic nominee for Attorney General here in Michigan because we can't have an all-female ticket for statewide office in 2018. Pundits and insiders are asking, can we afford to have a female governor, a female Attorney General, and a female Secretary of State? Well, I read the news, and I bet you do too. And it has me wondering, can we afford not to? Now, if you want to know more about what I'll do as Michigan Attorney General, head to Dana2018.com. But right now, I want
.com, okay?
to tell you what you can expect me not to do. I will not sexually harass my staff, and I won't tolerate it in your workplace either. I won't walk around in a half-open bathrobe, and I'll continue to take all sex crimes seriously, just like I did as a prosecutor. You won't find me using your hard-earned tax dollars to silence victims or join right-wing lawsuits that make it harder for you to get health insurance. I'll be too busy doing what I've always done, going to bat for the people who need it most and winning. Yes, I'm a woman.
I'm a woman.
That's not a liability.
That's not a liability.
That's an asset.
That's an asset.
I'm Dana Nessel. I approve of putting more women on the ticket in November, and I approve this message.
Okay. Now, mind you, that I do not yet know what political affiliation she is. Here's her website, Dana2018.com. Well, she's supporting the legalization and sensible regulation of marijuana. That's the sign that she's a Democrat. Right up here at the top of the screen is blue. That's a pretty good sign she's a Democrat. Civil rights enforcement. When she says civil rights, she pretty much don't mean your civil rights. Your health care, which is a Democratic word, just might I mind you. Defend immigrant communities. Is that of the legal kind or the illegal kind? You might want to ask yourself this. Aggressively prosecute hate crimes of discrimination. Okay? Yeah, I'm going to go out and say she's a Democratic candidate. Now, usually it'll say like the Democratic candidate for a bunch of BS or something like that, but it don't even say nothing like that. Right here, it's just pretty much got her background. She's a graduate of the University of Michigan and Wayne State University Law School. In 2012, she spearheaded the precedent-setting case DeBoyer versus Snyder, which challenged the bans on adoption and marriage of same-sex couples in Michigan. DeBoer was later consolidated with its affiliated U.S. Sixth Circuit cases into Oglesfeld versus Hodges in the United States Supreme Court. The landmark case legalized same-sex marriage nationwide. That pretty much tells you right there that she is a Democrat. Now, nowhere on this site does it say the word Democrat, might I mind you. If you don't believe me, you can go to Dana2018.com and find out for yourself. I have no reason to lie to you. I come on air here telling you all the facts, giving you everything that I have to back up my claims. I don't just come up with these harebrained opinions, this crazy stuff that everybody thinks I'm crazy, and yeah. I base what I give you on a whole lot of thought, reason, evidence, whatever that I gotta have. I don't just make these outrageous claims. Now, fix my lighting source here a little bit. But this is the world that we're living in here in the good old year of 2017. And political candidates can now make commercial ads promising you that they will not show you their penis. Well, you know, I don't know. She might have one on her as long as her leg, or she might have a wife that's got a strap on that's massive. You know, I don't know, but it's looking pretty bad on her. Okay, and when somebody tells you that they're not going to show you their penis, then pretty much they got it on their brain that they want to show you their penis. They just don't want to tell you about it yet because they just want to ease it out, you know, just a little bit so everybody don't, you know, they just a little bit at a time right there. That's usually how they do it. Whether it's being perverse towards children, adults, what have you. It's usually a gradual process, and sometimes they will put a little Vaseline on it, and most of the time they won't, but sometimes they will. I will just throw that out there. Now, I promise you that I will not show you my penis, if that means anything. But I don't want your vote. I'm not running for anything as of yet. Though I am planning on doing something in politics someday. Not at this time. This is not the time to seek office. However, I'm massively aware that our country could use good people every day helping in these causes. Let's move on to a little CNN clip. Listen to Linda Salazar debate with a bigoted anti-Semite. Hang on. They're saying that Pamela Geller debates bigoted anti-Semite Linda Salazar. I'm sorry. Yeah. Let's just. I'll let you decide.
Controversial ads with shocking messages are set to debut in San Francisco, like the one that says, quote, "Killing Jews is worship that draws us close to Allah." Just let that statement sink in for a moment. And then here's another one. Homosexuality is ugly. In Iran, we don't have homosexuals like in your country, with, of course, a picture of Iran's president, Mahmoud Ahmadinejad. The ads are being posted on buses around San Francisco. 10 of them have gone up. The woman who's behind them, Pamela Geller, and her group, American Freedom Defense Initiative. Pamela, thank you for being here with us this morning. A lot of controversy about these ads. Tell us why you want them up. What is the point?
Well, these ads are a response to a deceptive and fallacious ad campaign being run by the Muslim Brotherhood group CARE that says that jihad is getting to the gym every day. And so our ads were designed to show the reality of jihad using actual quotes from high-profile Muslim Prime Minister of Turkey, the Fort Hood jihadi, the Times Square bomber, to increase awareness about the ideology that sanctions the violence and supremacism of jihad.
You're being accused of this being just blatantly anti-Muslim, though. What is your reaction to that criticism?
Well, it's deeply offensive to Muslims because the implication is that all Muslims support jihad, and we know that that's not true. But we don't have to pat on the back every Muslim that doesn't want to kill us. We expect that. That's our bar. So I think that that's a canard. I think it's a deceptive statement. I know from my own email box that many Muslims stand with us because they escaped jihadi wars and they escaped the Sharia. But there have been over 20,000 deadly Islamic attacks since 9/11, and Americans need to understand the ideology that inspires these acts of war.
All right, Pamela, I want to bring in Linda Sarsour. She's with the National Network of Arab American Communities. Linda, you've seen these ads. Pamela says she's quoting Muslims, including Iranian President Mahmoud Ahmadinejad. What's your reaction?
The ads are absurd. They're offensive. You're quoting a man who is a Holocaust denier. I mean, he's not an American Muslim. And Ms. Geller has a history and track record of vilifying the Muslim American community and pinning communities up against each other, including her most recent homophobic ads, which are very offensive not only to the Muslim American community, but also to the LGBT community here in the United States.
This is not the first time that ads have gone up. You remember the controversy over similar ads in New York. Pamela, your organization successfully sued the New York City Transit Agency when it tried to ban those ads. The issue, for First Amendment freedom of speech. So San Francisco's transit authority is in the same boat. Listen.
So this is again what we see: ad hominem attacks, libels, and defamation against me. They don't condemn the statements in the ads. You have Turkey saying the mosques are our fortresses, the minarets are our bayonets, and the Muslims are our soldiers. And the quotes that I'm using are actual quotes from the leader of the Muslim Brotherhood in Egypt, Sheikh Qaradawi, calling for the death penalty for homosexuals. My calling attention to this makes me homophobic? No, not calling attention to the plight of gays under the Sharia is killing people. And so, of course, attack me, but where is the condemnation?
Look at this smile. Let me tell you about Linda Sarsour. Okay, first let me tell you about Muslims. Real Muslim women, they do not show their faces in public. Here you have a Muslim. I hate to interrupt Mrs. Geller here, because she is on completely 100% on point, on target. No denying this. Okay. However, if she were a true Muslim, she would have this veil covering her face. You would not be able to see nothing but her eyes. Maybe her forehead. Okay? Here you can see her clearly wearing blue to purple eyeshadow to match that lovely towel on her head. Whatever that thing right there is called. I hate to call it that because I know that's probably offensive to some Muslims. I do apologize. I do not know the correct term. Excuse my ignorant and tired ass this morning, but yeah. But anyways, yeah, just thought I would put that out there. She is nothing but a figurehead, so to speak, okay? She's over here presenting herself as a Muslim woman when she clearly supports a liberal agenda. She clearly supports illegal immigration. She clearly is a supporter of ISIS. She's a supporter of the Muslim Brotherhood. She's a GD terrorist, okay? And here you have her on CNN with that little smirky grin on her face, debating, she's gang raping Mrs. Pamela Geller here, helping gang raper, that is, with this CNN what area you want to call that? I get mad.
The actual statements that these high-profile Muslims are making. We don't hear that at all. Well, I think it's very interesting, and it speaks volumes as to the motive behind.
But there's been plenty of I will say there's been plenty of condemnation of Mahmoud Ahmadinejad and for statements that he has said about homosexuals and homosexuality. I mean, there's been plenty of condemnation of him and others. I mean, there's been prosecution of some of the people that you show on these, the Times Square bomber and the like. So it's not as if. I guess I don't understand your point.
My point is the American people are being disarmed by obscuring the true reality of jihad, and this is our way of sort of leapfrogging over the media, who whitewashes and sanitizes it, and alerting the American people to what is the gravest national security threat that our nation faces.
Linda, can you see how the courts view this as a freedom of speech, that it is Pamela's right to put up these billboards?
I'm not debating her right and her freedom of speech, and that's why we live in the United States of America. But I will say particularly on the homophobic remarks, we could take these ads and it could be about any of the Abrahamic faiths, which have similar, if not identical, views on homosexuality. But what I'm troubled by is Ms. Geller's obsession and fascination with Islam and with American Muslims. Why is it that none of those remarks are by American Muslims? We have plenty of national organizations, prominent Muslim Americans in this country, who have...
She's made remarks like that herself, which I have showed on this show before, okay? I don't remember the exact episode or nothing like that, but you go 20, 25 episodes back and you're sure to find it somewhere, because I remember covering her. I have covered her speaking in front of her congregation, her mosque, whatever it's called. But yeah, she is a terrorist. She is a funder of terrorism. She supports it. She's supporting a modern day liberal legit. These ain't old school liberals, folks. This ain't no Larry King liberal that we're talking about when we say liberal. When we say liberal, we mean socialist, communist. Yeah. These people are bad. These people are the worst evil that you can possibly imagine. Okay, I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you just how low that these people right here will stoop. Okay, give me 1 minute.
Publicly stated any anti-gay. As a matter of fact, the LGBT community is one of our largest allies, because both of our communities, both American Muslims and LGBTQs, are marginalized and ostracized. And I'm a civil rights activist. I believe that we live in the United States of America and everyone deserves the same rights that I have. And I will never take the rights away from someone if I'm in this country fighting for the rights of my community. So I'm just really troubled, and I want to question the obsession with Islam and American Muslims.
To leave it there, but I would like to say Christians and Jews are not killing gay people. So there may be quotes in the Bible, but they're not killing gay people. And my obsession is with life. And my obsession is with 9/11 and with Times Square and the attempted bombing of the Federal Reserve Building and the repeated thwarted attacks for jihad. My obsession is with life, and that's what I'm fighting for: freedom and liberty.
All right, we have to leave it there.
And individual rights for all.
Pamela Geller and Linda Sarsour, thank you both for spending a little bit of time to explain it to us.
We'll watch a little bit of this one.
Let's Those words from Muslim activist Linda Sarsour from the Women's March on D.C. that was earlier this year. Ms. Sarsour now finding herself back in the spotlight, facing criticism over her latest remarks, calling for, quote, jihad against the Trump White House. Listen.
I hope that when we stand up to those who oppress our communities, that Allah accepts from us that as a form of jihad, that we are struggling against tyrants and rulers, not only abroad in the Middle East or in the other side of the world, but here in these United States of America, where you have fascists and white supremacists and Islamophobes reigning in the White House.
Sarsour's supporters maintain the word causing fierce backlash has been taken out of context, and that she's also been fighting back, tweeting, "Right wing tries to demonize my leadership. Editing videos is their favorite pastime." Here now, Ben Shapiro is editor-in-chief of DailyWire.com, and Hassan Shibli is chief executive director of CARE Florida, a friend of Ms. Sarsour's, and was president when she made the comment. So, Hassan, let me start with you. Tell me how it was taken out of context.
Well, jihad means to struggle for good, and she was very clear that it's our duty as Americans and as Muslims to put forward our best effort and to struggle to speak truth to power, to help the disenfranchised, to stand for the oppressed, no matter what the cost is of speaking out. And she's actually paying the price of speaking out and calling out the Trump administration's attacks on minorities, attacks against women. Linda's a revolutionary American Muslim proud hijab sporting activist, and we stand with her. We're proud of the tremendous work she's doing to stand with all disenfranchised minorities to make America great by standing for justice and speaking truth to power, which is exactly what jihad is about.
Okay, so I first read about this on the Daily Wire when you wrote about it, Ben. Tell me why you think that it was not taken out of context when she calls for jihad against the White House.
Well, I mean, it clearly wasn't taken out of context. Everybody I know who posted this story posted the entire video as well as a large portion of the transcript from what she said. I don't think anybody is claiming that she openly called for violence against President Trump, but jihad means more than just internal struggle or quote-unquote struggle for good. I mean, we all know that there are terrorists all over the world who invoke the word jihad as justification for what they do, and Linda Sarsour knows that too. I mean, she knows how to make a headline. She is a radical anti-Semite who has backed terrorists in the past. She's a person who has said that I am
Stop smearing her. Don't smear a woman who's not here to defend herself. You just don't like a vocal American Muslim woman proudly standing for justice. Don't smear a woman who's not here to defend herself. Shame on you.
Okay, I'll talk about CARE instead. CARE is an organization that was an unindicted co-conspirator in the Holy Land
Right,
Foundation
shift the topic. Exactly. Never indicted. Don't try to drown out the conversation. Let's talk about what jihad means. Jihad means striving for truth.
Let me ask you,
exactly what
Hassan, let me ask
If you want to talk about context, let's talk about the full context.
Yes, go ahead and answer.
Okay, this is what I want to ask
the fact that she began this speech by praising a guy who has in the past talked about how jihad includes violent jihad. She started her speech with that. So let's not pretend that you're the one taking this one line out of context and then suggesting that it only refers to...
Well, I encourage everybody just to listen to the speech for herself.
So I listened to it, and I have a question to you from a communication standpoint. So she wants to be an effective activist. Surely she is aware that when the general public hears the word jihad, it's not necessarily about an internal struggle and standing up for people's rights. I mean, we do that all the time in America, like our country's actually built on that. So I'm curious why she doesn't think that she would get some backlash. If you're going to say those things, you are going to get, stir up a hornet's nest.
I want to tell y'all something. To not support our president is sedition in itself, okay? It's treason. It's kind of terroristic, okay? It's kind of like mental terrorism, okay? For you not to support our president is to say that you don't honor the majority of American voters who voted our president into office, okay? And, like, here lately, how they've been, trying to question the president's, mental capability, saying he's like senile and stuff. It's no different, okay? We all know that Donald Trump is of sound mind and body, okay? And to question that, like I said, is to question the millions and millions of us who voted for him. Now, if I were Donald Trump, which I am not, but if I were Donald Trump, I would prove my mental capabilities to a professional team, psychological team, who specializes in this sort of thing. And after that, I would go to Congress and I would seek to prosecute these people who have desecrated his name, who have drug his name through the mud for the last 2 years, okay? The people who, these little Hollywood slime balls who have got in front of a camera and talked about, how big and bad they are and how they would like to punch Trump in the face, or as Mickey Rourke put it, take a effing ball bat to his head, or whatever it was. Robert De Niro, he's a effing joke, man. That he is not the actor. I take that back. He is not the character that he plays in all those movies, folks, okay? These Hollywood slime balls are sick. They're twisted, okay? All of them. They all support what we don't. They support not believing in God. They support global warming. They support illegal immigration. They support the Democratic Party, and that in itself is enough to boycott them as well as the NFL. That's two things that's coming up later. For those of you who stick around, if any of y'all disagree with what I've been saying, if any of y'all would like to join the conversation, you can. That number right here on my home studio wall, 276-524-0047. Again, that number, 276-524-0047. I would love to hear from you all. But let's get back to the video.
That's why it's so important that she used that word, because we must reclaim that word from the extremists that have misdefined it and misrepresented it. So Muslim extremists and anti-Muslim extremists have both hijacked and distorted jihad to mean something horrible, to mean exactly what jihad does not mean, actually. And the only way we can reclaim our words and reclaim our language is by leaders proudly and unapologetically using it in the right context, so we can show the world what jihad really means. Jihad does not mean war.
Jihad means holy war, by the way. It really does. I've never heard it referred to as anything else. And this little bearded Muslim here, he's simply making excuses, okay? With that little smirky grin on his face.
Like whistling past the graveyard, because that's already the reclamation, Ben. It's too late for that.
Of course no, it isn't too late. It isn't too late. It isn't too late.
Okay, if it isn't too late, then I'd like to hear CARE come out right now and condemn the Muslim Brotherhood.
Why would we condemn the Muslim Brotherhood? We don't condemn political organizations. Listen, let's not, again, every single time you want to try to distort the conversation. Why don't you condemn? Why don't you condemn the KKK? Why don't you condemn the Lord's Resistance Army? Every time a Muslim comes up, you start condemning. You start asking Muslims to condemn. Muslims are human beings. We're proud Americans. We stand for peace. We stand for justice. We condemn all people. We condemn all people who engage in violence against human beings, against civilians. And take that for granted. We are one humanity, one people. Let's get to know each other. Let's not promote fear and hate of each other.
All right, Hassan, I'll give the last word to you, Ben.
Okay, if you want to reclaim the word jihad, you should start by condemning organizations that promote jihad all over the world instead of associating with them, praising them, and talking about
again, you're misdefining jihad. Jihad means standing for justice. Jihad means standing for justice. It doesn't mean terrorism. And we stand against all terrorists and all those who engage in violence.
Organizations that participate in it. This is not hard.
We have and we do, just as everybody else does. Thank you, and God bless you. God bless America.
Thank you, Hassan, and Ben Shapiro. Thank you so much. See you next week.
The activist Dr. Kanta Ahmed, author of In the Land of Invisible Women, and no better person to talk to us about this today. Good to have you. Thank you, Abby. I saw you watch them, and you're just shaking your head because you're always on our show. You're talking about the positive things about the peaceful, loving Muslim community. What does something like this do to negatively impact people like you that are out there trying to promote it?
She is tarring all Muslims with the idea that we are somehow going to combat the democratic decision of the American people. This president is rightfully and legally elected to power. She's calling us to resist that. And this is classic Islamist tactics right out of the Muslim Brotherhood playbook. She wants to corral America's Muslims into a wedge against the wider society. And she wants America to believe that we think we are a victimized religious minority when we're among the world's most privileged Muslims that there can be.
Well, she talks about jihad, right? She tries to defend herself by saying, well, you just don't understand what jihad means. You understand what this means. But not everyone in that audience takes it the way she does or you do.
Abby, not only does she claim that we don't know what jihad means, I'm highly literate in Islam, as are many other non-Muslims. But she's being defended by liberals who claim that we are denigrating her right to discuss Islam as a religion. That is not the case. In this climate, jihad could be construed by a fanatic as a call to arms to act against our president or against our structures. But what she's actually doing is denying a profound Islamic right, a profound Islamic duty, which is our duty to society. We are called by the Quran to join and unite society, not fragment it. But the Muslim Brotherhood thrives, and Islamists thrive by corralling all Muslims into believing that we're victimized and that we're persecuted, and then claiming rights as a religious minority when really she's acting as a political totalitarian ideologue.
Well, it sounds like she might have political ambitions of her own. Here's what she tweeted in her defense, Dr. Ahmed. She says, "We will define our religion on the terms of the majority of Muslims. Learn from the experts. Reading is fundamental." What message do you have to her this morning?
So actually, I take my insights about Islamism and the Muslim Brotherhood from the Muslim world. The most recent example is the state of Egypt, where Egypt's people overwhelmingly removed these kinds of ideologues from power in Mohammed Morsi. That is believing Muslims in the order of almost 90 million Muslims opposing the Muslim Brotherhood strategies in Egypt in a Muslim country. This is what she's trying to bring here. Liberals that fall for this are not only being profoundly ignorant, they're empowering a woman that would seek to dismantle our democratic order. That is not in the benefit of Muslims like me, many of us who can call her out and see what her hypocrisy is about.
Well, your voice is so important in all of this. Dr. Ahmed, thanks for being with us this morning.
Thank you, Abby.
Always good to join.
Now, let's go back in time a little bit. First, I want to show you this video of Bette Midler. Looks like, I don't know, back about 20 years ago, talking about Geraldo Rivera pushing her into the bathroom along with his cameraman or something like that, and I don't know, like, popping some kind of drugs under her nose and making her incapacitated somehow. Just listen to this. This is, just listen. This is somehow resurfaced. I don't know where this even came from. Why this isn't public common knowledge. Why this is just now coming to surface. We'll get to that later.
But speaking of taste, what do you think of Geraldo Rivera's autobiography in which he said that you and he had a torrid sexual affair and you were insatiable?
Oh, God.
Is that an insult or a compliment?
Oh, I thought it was fabulous. I thought, oh, I needed that at this point in my life. Just when everyone perceives me as like this, you know, sort of little old lady type, you know, conservative, somewhat straight-laced. I am a little straight-laced.
Conservative, yeah. She's conservative, all right.
He comes along and tells the world how great, you know, what a sexy chick I am. So, in a way, it was kind of, I had to laugh. My husband and I, we both had a big laugh over it.
And that's all?
I said, well, his penis went to his head. But the truth about it is that I didn't remember.
I didn't remember.
I mean, one thing I did remember, and that was how I met Geraldo, and that was not funny. Shall I tell you?
Why not?
Well, no, I better not. I'm going to get in trouble. It was very unpleasant.
Trouble.
Okay, get in a little trouble. Well, Geraldo and his producer came to do an interview with me.
His producer. I'm sorry, not his cameraman, his producer.
In the 70s, the early 70s.
In the early 70s now.
And this was when he was very sort of hot. And he and his producer left the crew in the other room. They pushed me into my bathroom. They broke 2 poppers and pushed them under my nose and proceeded to grope me. And I didn't have any grope me. I did not offer myself up on the altar of Geraldo Rivera. He was unseemly. His behavior was unseemly.
And you don't remember?
And my friend says, "Oh, what a charmer! Of course you slept with him after that."
Yeah, of course you did. Of course. And laugh like it's just a big joke. Like it's. Look at that. Don't that make you sick? Does that not tell you all you need to know about these people? Not saying anything about Geraldo here. I mean, Geraldo is clearly one of them, okay? No matter how much he poses up there on Fox News or whatever the hell they hire him to be on, okay? He's not no conservative. He's another sheep or wolf in sheep's clothing. And right here you have another one. Look at this big old greedy. I don't even want to say it. But just look at this big old nose right here. Look at those little devilish eyes and that little smirky grin. Have you not saw this before? Don't that little look right there on her face just look so familiar? Like you've seen so many people do the same thing.
Well, let's go on to other things, shall we?
I'll tell you the truth. If I had known he was going to be so, he was going to, 20 years later, he was going to wind up a slimy talk show host, I never would have even let him in the room, you know. I mean, you have no way of knowing at the time that these things are going to come back to haunt you.
Now, if that don't beat the cows a cracking, here we have a news headline from, I don't know, 24 hours or so ago. This is from Fox News, which they have linked to a story from a school newspaper. Headline: Texas student newspaper blasted over anti-white, saying your DNA is an abomination. Here you can see the actual paper right here. And you can even read, I'm going to say the first 3 paragraphs. It's written by a Rudy Martinez, opinions columnist. Quote, "Now I am become white, the destroyer of worlds," end quote. "When I think of all the white people I have ever encountered, whether they've been professors, peers, lovers, friends, police officers, etc., there is perhaps only a dozen I would consider, quote, decent," end quote. My colleague, Rafari Robertson, in his brilliant column, quote, "Debunking the Myth of the White Majority," end quote, already exposed whiteness in the United States as a construct used to perpetuate a system of racist power. The column functions, however, within a different definition of witness. To be white in the United States is to be a descendant of those Europeans who chose to abandon their identity in search of something, quote, new, unquote, stolen land. Racial categories, white, black, brown, red, etc., are used to subjugate non-white people. The blending of semantics upholds a white supremacist society. As someone, quote, white, unquote, whether you know it or not, regardless of your socioeconomic standing, you benefit from privilege. In Texas, a bizarre state I have now inhabited for 4 years, I continuously meet individuals that either deny the existence of white privilege or fail to do something productive with it. Now, is that not the most absurd thing that you have ever comprehended between your ears? That truly beats the cows a cracking, okay? To say that all white people are racist, or to say that white people hold a certain privilege over another class, that's outrageous. I mean, really. But let me tell you something. There's been a war in this country, a silent war against boys for decades now, okay? Now, this goes into what I've always told y'all about, like, the war on humanity, the war on us, the war on the middle class, the war on the poor. Listen, all these rich people, they don't think that poor people or middle class people have the same rights as them, have the same entitlement as them. They don't think that we have the right to breed, okay? That's why they support Planned Parenthood so much. That's why they push these vaccines on us, okay? That's why there's so many drugs on our streets. That's why there's new viruses that comes out every other month. There's a new flu bug every year, which supposedly just mutates in nature, you know. Listen. You take the flu virus, okay? A germ or bacteria that has easily survived, supposedly evolved for millions, if not billions of years, okay? It's common knowledge it had to, okay? Now, if that little flu bug mutates in nature, meaning just, you know, right outside your door, wherever in the world that it is, it just magically mutates every year. Okay? If it does that, then that would mean that it would have had to have done that in all those millions and billions of years prior to now, okay? And you sit right there and you think, well, if something evolves, it obviously becomes stronger, more well adaptive to its, you know, environment, so on and so forth. Well, you take that little flu virus, that little flu germ, bacteria, whatever it is, and you give it a million or billion years of evolution, you're looking at something that's stronger than the Black Plague, something that's stronger than the Black Plague and AIDS combined, okay? You're talking about the worst sickness to ever come into contact with another human being, okay? That's just common knowledge, okay? When that flu bug mutates every year, let me tell you something. It mutates in a lab, okay? It is DNA spliced and spiced and all this garbage to make these older people die. Well, first of all, to make them sick, or you know, go work that health care, as the Democrats you know, refer to it as, and get that flu shot. Well, what they don't tell you, unless you read the insert, and I bet you 90 to 95% who take the flu shot never even ask for an insert, don't even know what the insert is, okay? You will learn that the flu shot kills people every year, okay? It's kind of like a bee sting. You get stung 2 or 3 times, you know, it's no big deal whether you're allergic or not, okay? But you go through thousands and thousands of bee stings, and it's a little bit different. Well, that's something that you might survive one time, but it will weaken you, and the next time you have an encounter, which is equal to or more than prior, maybe even less than the time before. I mean, it can kill you, okay? And you got to think about the ingredients that goes into these vaccines, okay? You got formaldehyde. Do you know what formaldehyde is? Formaldehyde is what they embalm you with. It's embalming fluid, okay? You got aluminum. You got mercury. Mercury! First of all, what's aluminum well known for? Ask yourself. What does aluminum do to a human over a lifetime of using it? It makes us more susceptible to Alzheimer's, okay? Whether you knew that or not, that's the truth. Listen. I know that people are poor. I know that people can't survive without that little government check. And I know that everybody wants babies. But let me tell you something. Just because you're young and in the prime of your life, that don't mean that you're ready to have babies, okay? Because unless you're financially stable and capable of supporting a child, you should. I don't believe that you should bring a child into this world, okay? Because listen, the poorer you are, the less say-so you have, okay? The poorer you are, the more the government is, the more the state is going to try to be your woman's husband. They're going to try to take your place, okay? No. This is just all common sense. There's been a war not only on humanity, but on boys and on white men for at least 2 decades, if not more. And then you have people like this that's going around saying stuff like this and putting it in papers and promoting these beliefs, okay? Let me tell you something. I never enslaved nobody in my life. I don't know about my ancestors. I don't know what them people done. I know a little bit, just what I've been told, but I'm not aware that any of them owned slaves, okay? And which they may have. I'm not saying that they didn't. But I can't help that. I shouldn't be expected to be held accountable for one of my ancestors doing that happened 100, 200, 300 years ago. Even 2 weeks ago. If I wasn't there, I can't help the matter, okay? And furthermore, for them to ask us to be apologetic for something that our ancestors did is absurd, okay? Absurd would be an understatement, truly. But let's get into this article. In fact, let's watch this video right here first. I don't think this video is going to play. So I'm going to try to find it. You just bear with me. Here you have from the Hill breaking news: special counsel to charge Michael Flynn with false statements. I'm fixing to show you. I'm going to tell you in this episode what the Democrats are so afraid of. Why Mueller is doing what he's doing. Why they want to attack Trump so much. And I can't wait to get this off my chest, because this is one of the biggest things that I've ever encountered before in my life. Give me just a second here. Let me look. Check YouTube. I was really interested in hearing this particular individual's opinion on this, because I'm sure that we pretty much share the same views. But I'm going to go ahead and read you this article. A Texas student's newspaper is apologizing after coming under fire for running an opinion column called, quote, "Your DNA is an abomination," end quote. that accuses white people of being oppressors who, quote, shouldn't exist, end quote. The apology from Texas State University Star came just hours after the column was printed in the paper's Tuesday edition, sparking a backlash, quote, whiteness will be over because we want it to be, end quote. Yo. Yeah. Yeah, I'll probably just drive over. Yeah, Kendra's gonna go with me. Come up here when you get back. Yeah, or going home and I'll come up there one. Well, it don't matter. I can meet you in Jared a while or something. It don't matter. Well, call me. I'll come down there. Alright, bye. I'm sorry about that, folks. A little bit of family issue. I'm sorry about that. Whiteness will be over, quote, whiteness will be over because we want it to be, end quote. The article reads, according to a photograph sent to Fox News by multiple viewers, quote, and when it dies, there will be millions of cultural zombies aimlessly wandering across a vastly changed landscape, end quote. In addition to stating, hold on. Yeah. Huh. I know. I'm going to. I'll do that. Bye. In addition to stating, quote, white death will mean liberation for all, end quote. The columnist also says whiteness is, quote, a construct used to perpetuate a system of racist power, end quote. And white people are, quote, an aberration, end quote. Here's somebody named Caitlin Payne tweeting, loving the stimulating, unbiased writing that is at University Star. I guess racism doesn't count if it's towards white people, question mark. Enjoy at Texas State President. I'm going to go ahead and retweet that because that was pretty slick, if I do say so myself. Again, anybody that wants to follow me on Twitter, just look up at Real Big Al Morgan or at Alex Morgan Show. I think that there's also one for at AM Show News. Those are my 3 Twitter links. You can follow me on Facebook, facebook.com/Big Al Morgan. That's BIGALMORGAN. Quote, until then, remember this, I hate you because you shouldn't exist, end quote, the column adds. Quote, you are both the dominant apparatus on the planet and the void in which all cultures upon meeting you die. The column was written by Texas State University senior Rudy Martinez, a philosophy major, who said in a past article he was one of the more than 200 people who was arrested on January 20th protesting, quote, the inauguration of proto-fascist Donald Trump, end quote. The University Star's editor-in-chief Denise Cervantes said in a statement issued late Tuesday that the column received, quote, widespread criticism from readers, end quote. Quote, the University Star's opinion pages are a forum for students to express and debate ideas, end quote, she said, going on to say, quote, while our publication does not endorse every opinion put forth by student columnists or guest contributors, as the editor, I take responsibility for what is printed on our pages, end quote. Well, she should have taken responsibility for this. She should have stopped it in its tracks. This is absurdity. What if this was somebody saying that they wish that black people didn't exist, that they're tired of their black privilege? That's straight up KKK lingo, man. What the hell? Okay? I've just got to say it. I can't help it. I know this is a family-friendly program and all this, but what the bleeping hell, man? Okay? What if I said, well, I'm tired of Chinese people and their slant-eyed privilege. You know what I'm saying, man? What's the difference? What is the damn difference? I don't believe in race. I don't. I believe in one race. That is the human race. For anybody to call me racist because I'm white, for anybody to say that I have some type of white privilege because I'm white, let me tell you something. I have been dirt poor most of my life. I have struggled every day that I have been on this earth in some way or another. I have no white privilege whatsoever. Never have I ever benefited from being white that I know of. This is just the most outrageous thing that you can think of. And for her to say that the University Star's opinion pages are a forum for students to express and debate ideas, that their publication doesn't endorse every opinion put forth by student columnists or guest contributors. As the editor, I take responsibility for what is printed on our pages. That's pretty much like saying, well, he don't like white people, and I'm just going to go along with him because I don't like them neither, you know. I don't know what else to say. Well, actions speak volumes. Remember that. They do. They speak louder than words most of the time. We acknowledge, quote, we acknowledge that the column could have been clearer in its message and that it has caused hurt within our campus community. We apologize and hope that we can move forward to a place of productive dialogue on ways to bring our community together. End quote. That is all horse manure, okay? First of all, let me dissect this little quote right here from the editor-in-chief. We acknowledge that the column could have been clearer in its message, and that it has caused hurt within our campus community? Do you think? And could have been clearer. No, you can't be more clearer than that. That's about as blunt as you can be about it, okay? That's like saying that I'm no longer playing on the basketball team because of all the black players who play on the basketball team and their black privilege. Now, how absurd does that sound? I mean, really, like, just say that little thing that I just said right there in your head, and just imagine a reaction from any random person that you possibly know, okay? These people get crazier by the day. Or we're just finding out how crazy they really are. I don't know for sure. I will be sure to keep you updated. But, yeah. Andrew Holman, a former Texas State Student Body President and Chief of Staff at the Texas Federation of College Republicans, was among the leading critics of the column. Quote, "Just when you think the opinions column in the University Star couldn't get any worse, they publish this masterpiece and exceed my expectations," end quote, he wrote on a Facebook post on Tuesday, going on to say, quote, "No one is going to take this paper seriously if the editorial board continues to allow baseless garbage to be published week in and week out," end quote. And I'll tell you, that couldn't have been said no better. I mean, really, who wants to send your kids to a school where the students are going to say, well, look at Billy Bob, he's white, why he's got white privilege, why he can't go to school with us? Now, is this not modern day segregation at his full naked state, wide open for everyone to see? Is this not the craziest stuff that you have ever heard in your life? This is coming from so-called liberals. Modern day liberals. Not the old school liberals, the socialists, the ones who claim to be anti-fascist, which in reality they are the fascists. Okay? Just so you know. They are the fascist ones. They are the socialists. They are the communists of our country. Good morning, this is the Alex Morgan Show. Caller got a little skittish, I guess. Again, anybody that wants to call the program this morning, the number 276-524-0047. This is coming from the so-called liberals of today. Now, we move on to one of our main stories of today. And might I remind you that there are many articles up on Google, or up on Drudge Report this morning. Russell Simmons accused of raping director's daughter in graphic detail, okay? Again, all you hear when you turn on the news, somebody's showing somebody their penis, somebody's getting out of the shower, and forcing somebody to watch them, somebody's molesting somebody, man is evil, LGBTQTRVWXY and Z, they're all good. This cisgender stuff and whatever you identify with, you're good. Okay? And the reason that these people are so good is because they can't reproduce just, anytime that they feel froggy. It actually takes them either to adopt a child, to have a surrogate, to I don't know, be artificially inseminated in some cases. It's just, really, just like I just got through saying, actions speak volumes. You can tell so much about somebody just in what they do, where they go, how they dress, who they associate with even. It's just obvious. A blind man could point this stuff out. For real. It's so obvious. Here you have a billboard of Al Franken groping appearing on the streets of L.A. Mystery booms continue. Explosions, rumbles, and shakings. Now, for those of you who haven't looked into this subject very much, I just want you to be aware of what's really going on, and also what might be going on, okay? Now, it's well known fact, it's well documented, pretty much publicly, commonly known, might as well say common knowledge, that the government has massive tunnels throughout the country connecting all of the large cities together. Not only them, but you have the elite who support these political candidates, you know, financially, through whatever means necessary. Okay, so obviously the elite have a lot to do with these underground military bases, these government whatever. It's well known. But also, here's what could actually be going on. And this ain't no so-called conspiracy theory. This is me talking to y'all, okay?
Dinner with friends, gotta bring.
This is me talking to y'all. You know, in the Bible, where it talks about giants, Goliath, and all this and all that. Well, you know how the government's always trying to, you know, fund science, make science advance just as much as it possibly can. You know how the military's all the time trying to create the perfect super soldier. You know that there are mutants that they have made, whether it's Chimera or the goat, the spider goat, whose web makes bulletproof material, whether it's you know, a sheep who has a human heart, human lungs, whatever. These people are playing God. I mean, bottom line. And you have the DNA of the giants. How much do you think that the government would pay for something like that? Just imagine. Just right off the top of your head, just imagine. Or what they would even do for that little bit of DNA from an actual giant. Okay? And I'm not talking Shaquille O'Neal here. I'm not even talking Goliath. I'm talking 10, 12, 14, 18 feet tall even. In the Old Testament, it talked about these giants being taller than cedar trees. it actually made the people who either talked about these accounts or wrote about them, it had these people comparing themselves to pea ants, okay? If that tells you anything. So, we know that these people are, or we know that these giants existed. There's proof of their existence. There's remains. No matter how much the what you call it, I can't think right now. What is the name of that place? Smithsonian. Yeah, the Smithsonian. They've covered it up for the last 120, 150 years, okay? I had to do a little survey there for, I would think that it's for the elite. That particular survey was about global warming, and if it were not about global warming, I would not have taken time to do it live on air. I just can't help it. It gets more ridiculous by the day. Okay, that survey started off by saying, what's mankind's biggest catastrophic event or whatever, so to speak, and it like gave I don't know, the environment and I don't know, something, two or three crappy things, and then at the bottom it had global warming. And if you picked anything other than global warming, then it wouldn't pay you to do that particular survey. After choosing global warming, he'd ask you what are the main culprits who are contributing to global warming, and it gave like businesses and the government and people and all this. So what did I pick? I picked people, of course, and then he'd ask you why. Wanted you to type out, and I put because because Al Gore is Captain America, and he said so, by God. And it went on, and they wanted to know who could help with global warming the most. And naturally, I chose the government. And at the end, it said, why or why not? And I said, because Al Gore and Leonardo DiCaprio fly around the world on their carbon footprint of a jumbo jet, while Obama tells people in Africa that they can't have air conditioning. So, you know, we can stop this. If we all work together, the polar bears will not drown. I swear to God they won't. I gotta show you this if I can find it. Give me 1 second, hold on. This famous photo right here, folks, is what they base global warming on, okay? This is what they use to scare us also. Can you see the picture here? This little old polar bear floating around on this little bitty ice cube. You know, trying to keep from drowning, of course, you know. Here you have this poor old polar bear, which looks very starved to death, which a polar bear is a truly evolutional example of a tough animal. They literally go months without food in sub-zero temperatures, folks, okay? So they do get a little skinny from time to time. I'm going to go ahead and save that picture right there. That's what they use as a scare tactic. Now, let's watch this little video about the loud noises.
Yeah, so I was all of a sudden,
earthquake. But what was behind the mysterious booms? Hundreds of you have been telling us about them across southern Arizona over the last few days, and we think we've found the answer. It may be because of Air Force planes. We've been getting hundreds of calls, emails, social media, everything over the last few days. We first told you what we knew last night in a story on TucsonNewsNow.com.
Well, just this afternoon, we've learned that Air Force operations west of Tucson may be causing this. Fox 11's Morgan Kirkland is getting some answers for us. She's on the east side with some people who heard the mysterious booms.
I'm here at an east side neighborhood near Golf Links and Prudence. Now, locals who live right here and all over the city and county not only felt this boom, but heard it as well. Viewers from 3 points, the northwest side, Sierra Vista, and the east side all heard or felt it.
I literally shook the entire house.
Eddie Borquez and Michael De Silva have lived in this east side neighborhood for years, but have never experienced anything like it before.
oh gosh, she got right next to me and just started quivering. You know, the dog can usually sense things.
The first mysterious boom happened Tuesday, 8:11 at night.
And it was really, really loud.
Then again, yesterday afternoon at 3:06.
I was actually thinking that was an earthquake.
Eric Kaiser, University of Arizona assistant professor, felt it too.
Just felt like a big, almost like something hit our house, like something ran into it.
We sat down and dug through all of the numbers. Kaiser ruling out an earthquake almost immediately. Another theory? A mine blast.
That's pretty late for mine blasting. I don't think companies normally do that.
We reached out to the Air Force bases all across Arizona. Luke Air Force Base, just west of Phoenix, might have the answer. We just found out that the base is doing exercises with the Singapore Armed Forces right now. In a statement they just released, it says, quote, the areas around Luke and Barry Goldwater Range Complex may experience more noise than usual as a result of the increased air activity and types of aircraft involved.
The best guess I think we have at the moment is that this was probably a sonic boom.
Base officials, they can't say if their planes actually created a sonic boom or not.
It's a mystery.
Reporting from the east side near Prudence and Golf Links, Morgan Kirkland, Fox 11 News.
But mystery kind of solved now. Luke Air Force Base also indicates that we might hear even more loud booms through the rest of this exercise. This is going to run all the way through December 11th. In a statement they sent to us, they also say the Forging Saber exercise, as it's called, will include both night and weekend flying operations for the duration of the exercise, happening at Luke Air Force Base and the Barry M. Goldwater Range Complex.
So crazy how many people it affected.
Now, I know you're sitting there talking about how crazy I am and how I've got all this conspiracy theory stuff on my mind and I'm just crazy. But let me ask you something. How can a sonic boom, something other that's thousands of feet in the air, make the ground shake? That doesn't make sense, okay? For you to hear it, it'd be one thing. But witnesses say that they also felt it. So that alone right there tells you all you need to know. Well, maybe not all you need to know, but a good amount. 9 accused playwright Israel Horovitz of sex misconduct. You have more of that. HIV breakthrough as cancer drug could hold secret to curing the virus. Vegas casino. Hold on. Vegas casino revenue down for months after shooting. Kimmel offers to fight Roy Moore. That would be something I would pay to watch. I would literally love to see that. Kimmel spent Thursday afternoon in a Twitter feud with Roy Moore, the Republican Senate candidate in Alabama, after sending a character from his show down to disrupt one of Mr. Moore's rallies. On that evening's Jimmy Kimmel Live, we responded to a tweet from Mr. Moore suggesting that if Mr. Kimball wanted, quote, to mock our Christmas values, end quote, he should go to Alabama to do it. Here he is tweeting. At Jimmy Kimmel, if you want to mock our Christian values, come down here to Alabama and do it man to man. Hashtag Alabama ALSEN, Alabama Senate. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Jimmy Kimmel is a vag, okay? Point blank.
I had an interesting day today. So I woke up, I wrestled the kids, I took a shower, I drove into work, I sat down at my desk, somehow found myself in a Twitter war with Roy Moore. You know Roy Moore, this guy who's running for Senate in Alabama, even though multiple women accused him of hitting on them, groping them, etc. before they were 18 years old. Well, Roy Moore is not happy with me. What happened was they had a rally for Roy Moore at a church in Theodore, Alabama last night. Roy is running against someone who, as far as I know, hasn't been accused of child molesting, is a guy named Doug Jones. And the election's on December 12th. Somehow, according to these new polls they released this week, Roy Moore leads Doug Jones by 5 or 6 points, which doesn't say a lot for Doug. But even though Roy Moore was reportedly so creepy around young girls, he was banned from the mall in Gadsden, Alabama when he was in this. Imagine getting banned from the mall. Just think about that. No hot dog on a stick for you. So they had a rally for Roy, and a number of his supporters were there, and one of them just happened to be our friend Jake Bird, Jake Bird is a character who has a Forrest Gump-like knack for showing up at all the big events. If you're not familiar with his work, this was Jake at a Donald Trump rally in Dallas in 2015.
By the way, can you see in the back? They have the best view. Can you see it's really my hair?
Yeah! Okay, so he's very passionate. And Jake got on a plane and went to Alabama last night. And apparently there was an incident that resulted in him getting kicked out of the rally. We'll show you all the footage of that later. But apparently the commotion touched a nerve because today Roy Moore lashed out at me. He wrote, Jimmy Kimmel, if you want to mock our Christian values, come down here to Alabama and do it man to man. And I responded, and he responded back, and I responded again. It's all on Twitter. But the bottom line is this. I accept the invitation. I will come down there. What I'm going to do is... And I think you're actually going to like this, Roy. I'm going to come down to Gadsden, Alabama with a team of high school cheerleaders, okay? We'll meet you at the mall.